primarily I just realized how much of what I regard as myself is really not myself, is really not what I am or who I am. How much of the weight I carry around is just not me. The darkness helped me start to differentiate between me and the parts that aren't me. I mean, I think the part that is me needs a lot less. It's a lot less adorned, a lot less needy, a lot less grasping, a lot less striving. Quieter, more grounded, more present, more thankful, kinder.
Just by nature.
Just by nature, yeah. I think it's just a lot more. I was gonna say it's more present, but I think it's almost like it is presence by definition. So it's like a lot. It's just more content to be what it is, And that's not to say that I spent 3 days in there blissed out in that space. I mean, you touch it and you fall out of it and you go back and forth 1,000 times. But it's nice to have the opportunity to just feel that presence. Because I didn't do anything, right? I mean, you just sit there. You just sit there and then it happens if you... I guess you part of your invitation was to like inquiry and paying attention. And so I think by just being curious, paying attention, listening, it happens on its own. You don't have to do anything to feel it or have it happen. It's not so much a doing as a listening, and then maybe if you want to give yourself the most amount of credit, a slight stepping aside, would be maybe the firmest way I could put it. But as it's happening, there's a voice that arises within me that says, "Now I'm doing it." And once that "now I'm doing it" voice shows up, the connection to the presence is lost. And so it's a bit of a balance, to be in it, to feel the presence, to feel the letting go, and then not grab onto that. And again, I mean, you do grab onto it, and it happens recursively over and over and over again. And then there comes a time when you are in the presence, and the thoughts come back, and they keep going, but you don't identify with the thoughts as much as you do the feeling of being. And I think that was a pretty special feeling as well. That it's not like the thoughts go away, but my self-identification with the thoughts diminished over time, the longer I spent in there. I can be present, and my thoughts can spin, and I don't have to be identified with them in a way that causes me to suffer. I think this is like the longest spiritual practice I've done. I mean, whether even whether it's meditation, even a Vipassana retreat, you're meditating for an hour and then there's relief. Or you ingest a foreign substance and have an experience and then there's relief. And I think in here, the relief, quote unquote, doesn't come. It doesn't end. And that you're just invited to continually sink deeper into the not endingness of it. You know, I was thinking a little bit about the difference between, it's like different time scales. You know, this feels almost like a geologic time scale versus other things I've done, which are more like alchemic, almost like a chemical reaction that I ride the wave of and it ceases. And this felt more like the way a stream might smooth a pebble or something like that, you know, where it clearly is a process, but it's not a process that I can project out into the future very well. You know, I think every other thing I've done, it's like, okay, my mind can project an hour into the future. My mind can project 2 hours into the future, even a night into the future. But to have to sit with the not knowing of days without some grand movement was really new and helpful in a way that I think other things I've done haven't been. I mean, I think once I like truly gave up the thought that I could turn the lights on, which I get, you know, once I like truly accepted, like, oh, it's going to be dark in here for a long time, I think it allowed me to have the spaciousness and the patience to just watch those levels of abstraction kind of wither away in a more digestible fashion, you know, like you're awake, you're alert, you're conscious, so you're tracking the process rather than having an explosion that you're then scrambling to try to pick up the pieces of. Or like really sitting there waiting for something to happen, because after a day or two you realize like nothing is going to happen. So I think it it just allowed me to sink deeper and deeper and feel the distinction more and more durably between, let's just call it like small self, small s self, and big S present self. You know, there is fear associated with being in there. You know, the fear of the unknown, the fear of the dark, the fear of the never-ending quality to it. And so, I mean, first and foremost, it just gave me a lot of compassion for my patients and what they're going through in a way that I don't think I'd fully appreciated before. And then also, I think, again, just like your presence and knowing you were there and knowing you were going to show up twice a day and bring food and bring encouragement and bring soothing words, the reinforcement that it's like we do need each other. We do need each other to go through dark times, scary times, unknown times, and that I don't think I would have been able to do it in the absence of that. You know, I probably would have opened the door or stuck my head out or done something, because the feeling of being fully alone in the dark, not knowing what's coming next, can be an unsettling feeling. And if you don't have that person that's that's planting the seed of how to access that presence. I could feel, I could feel how challenging and scary it is. Undergirding all of the mental, emotional models, there is a felt sense of okayness, and I think it's very easy. I mean, losing track of that on any given day is pretty easy to do, let alone when you're facing serious illness or death. I think it's very, very normal and natural and easy to lose sense of the feeling of okayness. And I think, like I said, having this felt sense of okayness in the face of fear with someone that is giving love and compassion and understanding seems like that's about as good as we can do it. About as good as we can do it.